Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome to you all. Just for those filtering through the waiting room at the moment, my name is Aki Schilz. I'm the founder of the Rebecca Swift Foundation, and I'm delighted to welcome you all here today to the Women Poets Prize 2020 Winners Ceremony, where we'll hear for the first time from our 3 2020 winners. I will shortly be handing over to our project manager, Victoria Adukwei Bulley, who will be saying a few words about the prize. But before we do that, I just wanted to give you a little introduction to the foundation, let you know how this hour will run, and also give a couple of housekeeping tips before we continue. This ceremony is being recorded, so please don't worry if you're filtering in a little bit late. The recording will be available on the Rebecca Swift Foundation website shortly after this event for you to watch back, so you won't have missed anything. We're so pleased to be welcoming you all here for a very, very special prize. We had a record 734 applications from women poets all over the UK this year, and somehow we sifted a long list of 9 and a short list of 6, and today the 3 winners, each of whom will be winning an amazing prize package, will be announced, and you will be hearing directly from them, each reading one of their poems for us. So this is a very special evening. Victoria will also be introducing the judges. Each of our judges will be introducing a poet. And at the end of the evening, we will also be hearing from a very special guest, poet and editor Melanie Salgado, one of Rebecca Swift's closest and dearest friends and a former colleague, who will be reading one of Becky's poems from her posthumous debut collection, A Suitable Love Object, which was published this year by Valley Press. I did want to say on behalf of the Rebecca Swift Foundation that this is a really special time for us. We launched in 2018, a year after Rebecca Swift's passing. Becky was an editor, a poet, and she was somebody with a deep faith in the power of creativity and the power of literature. And she also believed very strongly that everybody should have access to the tools to allow that creativity to flourish. And we have tried with the Women Poets Prize to put together an offer that allows women poets to do just that in a safe and supportive space, with a prize and a charity run by women for women, all about the power of creativity and storytelling. And really, Becky believed that everybody had that in them, that storytelling ability, that ability to make their words fly and affect others, heal things, touch things, move people. And I hope that tonight you will be moved by the words of our 3 winners. A quarter of the applicants for this year's 2020 Women Poets Prize had never applied to any other poetry competition at all. And 94% of them felt that this prize was either very important or important in the context of UK poetry. So I really strongly believe that this is an important space that we've created and an important offer. It's unique in the world of poetry, and it offers women poets a mix of creative and professional development opportunities, as well as round-the-clock pastoral care and support. We think we've done something really special. I hope you will agree. And I thank you for supporting us through this and allowing us to bring this to fruition and to offer it to women poets everywhere. A couple of housekeeping things. You are, as guests, muted and without video. That's just so that we can see all of our speakers properly and that you can really concentrate. If you accidentally unmute yourself, don't worry, one of us will be on hand to make sure that doesn't interfere with things today. If you get booted out for any reason, please simply use the same link that you used to enter again, and you will be let in through the waiting room. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm going to say a huge thanks on behalf of the Foundation, our Board of Trustees, and hand over to Victoria Adukwei Bulley, who is the project manager for the Women's Poets Prize.
Hi everyone, it is such a pleasure to be here with you, and thank you so much for coming to watch this, because this is obviously we've been in this pandemic situation for quite a while now, and even I'm still getting used to it, but it's so meaningful that we can still gather together in some way. I was going to say a little bit about the prize and what we are trying to do through our work before we get onto the amazing panel of judges that we've been so lucky to have this year, who will each then announce a winner. So yeah, I'll start by saying that the Women Poets Prize is an initiative with a lot of moving parts, but I think that's what gives it its richness, and it would be nothing without the incredible generosity of the community of partners that we are so fortunate to have the support of. And on that note, I think it's really important that I thank our poetry mentors who are back this year from the 2018 inaugural prize. They are Mona Archie, Martha Sprackland, and Isabel Dixon, who mentored our 2018 winners, Claire Collison, Nina Minga-Powles, and Anita Party. I also should thank our 7 prize partners. Sometimes I forget how many we have, because it seems that we have so many, but they are Poetry School, who are so generously supporting us this evening, Faber and Faber, the Literary Consultancy, Bath Spa University, Royal Birmingham Conservatoire, City Lit, and Verve Poetry Festival. Each of our partners offers something different, ranging from looking at the use of digital media in poetry practice, courses with leading poets at Poetry School, vocal coaching at Royal Birmingham Conservatoire, or exclusive publishing industry talks. We are so thankful to each of them for working with us and our poets, and for spreading the word and being such solid partners in the work that we're trying to do. I also think it's really important to thank our applicants, many of whom I can see on the list of viewers right now. And I think that speaks to the sense of community that there is. It's lovely and wonderful to win a prize, but it's also all the more wonderful to know that you exist in a continuum of writers who are each striving for similar things, but in unique ways. This year we had precisely 734 applicants. In 2018 we had 573, those numbers are in my head, 573 applicants. And with every application, we learn a bit more about what we're trying to do. This is also the first year that we've been able to open up the benefits, open up some benefits at least to our long list. So this year, all 30 long-listed poets were granted access to TLC's Being a Writer online development program. And so, yeah, I want to thank our applicants, because it is a vulnerable process to apply for a competition or a prize. I'm saying that as a poet myself, and I've only come out of the experience of project managing for this prize only more confident that things are in a good place, and that we should feel secure sending our work out, and that it lands in safe hands. I really do feel confident in that because of the experience of working on this prize, not least with such incredible judges as we've had the pleasure of having this year, whom I'm now going to move on to. I can't believe our luck this year to have Malika Booker, Liz Berry, and Pascale Petit. I had to spend a decent amount of time compiling each of their bios, because they are just doing the most, as the youth say. We are so thankful that you are here right now, and it's my utmost pleasure to be introducing them, and also to have each of them welcoming in our new winners. I am so excited by the work of the shortlist, and it was a pleasure to watch Malika, Liz, and Pascale as they deliberated and crafted that shortlist and decided our winners. And I have no doubt that our winners for 2020 are going to do amazing things, in the same way that our winners from 2018, Anita Party, Claire Collison, and Nina Minga-Powles have done. They continue to do exciting things, whether that's artistic residencies, residencies, winning or being shortlisted for other poetry prizes such as the Rialto pamphlet competition or the Forward Poetry Prize for Best First Collection, along with other things like founding small presses. So I have no doubt that we'll see all of that and more from our new winners. And I'll now introduce our judges in the order that they're going to make the announcements. So I'll announce them one by one and then we'll just move through. So our judges for 2020, Liz Berry. Liz Berry's 2014 poetry debut, Black Country, was a Poetry Book Society recommendation, received a Somerset Maugham Award and won the Geoffrey Faber Memorial Award and Forward Prize for Best First Collection 2014. Liz's pamphlet, The Republic of Motherhood from Chatto 2018, was a Poetry Book Society pamphlet choice, and the title poem won the Forward Prize for Best Single Poem in 2018. A new book of her collaboration with photographer Tom Hicks will be published by Hercules Editions in 2021. Liz is a patron of Writing West Midlands and works as a tutor for organisations including the Avon Foundation and the Poetry School. Pascale Petit's 8th collection, Tiger Girl, was shortlisted for the 2020 Forward Prize for Best Collection. Her previous collection, Mama Amazonica from Blood Axe, won the RSL Ondaatje Prize in 2018, was a Poetry Book Society choice, and was also shortlisted for the Roehampton Poetry Prize 2018. Mama Amazonica also very recently won the inaugural Laurel Prize run by the Poetry School, and she has, I mean, this is just how much stuff is going on here. She has published 6 collections before these two, 4 of which were shortlisted for the T.S. Eliot Prize. So yeah. And finally, Malika Booker is a British poet of Guyanese and Grenadian parentage and the founder of the incredible Malika's Poetry Kitchen, from whom so many poets I also admire have come. Her collection, Pepper Seed from People Tree, was shortlisted for the OCM BOCAS 2014 Poetry Prize and the Seamus Heaney Centre 2014 Prize for First Full Collection. She received her MA from Goldsmiths University and was recently awarded the Cultural Fellowship for Creative Writing or Literary Art post at Leeds University. Malika was also the first British poet to be a fellow at Cave Canem in the US and the inaugural poet in residence at the Royal Shakespeare Company. Malika very recently won the 2020 prize for Best Single Poem at the Forward Poetry Prizes. So I will now welcome our judges, and they will say something or two about our winners before announcing them. And the first judge, this is where my Zoom skills come in. There we go, Liz Berry.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so delighted that we're able to come together across the miles this evening to celebrate the wonderful poets of this year's Rebecca Swift Women Poets Prize. It was a joy to be a judge for this award, to be able to read the dreams and hopes of the poets alongside their work felt such a privilege, and wow, what poets they were. It is heart-lifting to know that women are making such tender, ambitious, thrilling work, and that the world of poetry is moving forwards in such capable, exciting hands. I'm so pleased to be announcing the name of our first winner this evening, Warda Yassin. We all greatly admired Warda's poems, their lyrical grace, their clarity, their vivid image making. And we also loved the work she was doing with young women writers in her community and through her work as a teacher. Sometimes when you lift a poet, you know that they in turn will be lifting others, and that feels such a beautiful gift to pass on. So Many congratulations, Warda. We're all delighted for you, and we know that you're going to shine so brightly.
Hello, hi, assalamu alaikum. Oh, thank you, Liz, that's so kind. I just want to start off by thanking all judges, Liz, Malika, Pascale, and Aki and Victoria and the team at Rebecca Swift. I'm incredibly honoured and really grateful for this. And before I start reading, just to kind of thank, you know, obviously the women in my life that always inspire me, you know, Mahoya, my sisters, and Vicky Morris, my mentor, like teacher, and one of my best friends is watching today. Thank you. Somaliland. Rope hair hangs from kufis. His sapped face glints with gold. There is a gap between his teeth. How I long to live there, privy to a kinder place, where hands are formed by the love of daughters, where children master the languages of God and mathematics. And after curfew, women sing forbidden gabes. We see a shepherd in his movements. In his fists, diplomats, nursing the burnout of a loyal heart. He is the man who stayed behind, nicknamed Officio, honouring his first son as Muhammad. From here, I watch his body skin itself of loss and grow into a new life overseas. Oh, how I long to put him on the map. This very real thing, this shoehorned boy, this black man of an island. Summer of year 9. The night they battered my father, meters from where I was sat watching Nightmare on Elm Street with my new cousins. There had been an assumed fit for a wedding. He walked their father home, then hammered my mother's fears onto our front door. My father, a man of suits and algebra, from Sheikh International Boarding School, a village boy of one real mother, tucked in a Burton shirt, who only became black in 1990 when war smothered home into a jar of fire, returned to us full-walleted, face charred, berry red and ivy. I watched him call the ambulance himself, my brother chastising me. I will stop crying. The neighbourhood boys pressing down on my mother's shoulders, closed the front door. Sometime later that night, my father will measure the exact distance of glass from his right eye. Whisper Allahu Akbar to the back of a pillow. This last one is inspired by my years of secondary school teaching and working with young people who've directly experienced war. What Ahmed told me in GCSE English: war is not that deep. Wallah, these poets are moving mad in this anthology. It's not about fishes, grandfathers, or holding a photo of somebody else's death. There are no similes to compare it to. When they bombed my secondary school, it was summer every day. And we discovered you can find footballs in rubble. We kicked them across the powdery streets like the curvy you play here, always keeping close tally. Nobody argued about collecting balls from behind knee-length fences or in the neighbour's zaytun tree. Although I remember my mother stopped sleeping through the dhuhr siesta, and her eyes looked like small buttons whenever she watched me win. Thank you so much. They're published in Poetry of Birmingham. Again, I'm really honoured, alhamdulillah, very blessed to be here tonight with everybody. And again, thanks to the judges and to everybody.
Wow. Thank you, Warda, and many congratulations. Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm speaking from Cornwall here. It's been a sheer joy to be a judge for the Women Poets Prize, together with the dream duo of Liz and Malika. There were many wonderful submissions on the long list that I admired and loved, but didn't make it into the shortlist. Then the shortlist was incredible, the standard sky high, and testament to the power of poetry by women today. But it's my great pleasure to introduce our second winner of the Women Poets Prize. And this is Natalie Linh Bolderston. Huge congratulations to you on a richly deserved win. Natalie sent in 3 poems, anonymously of course, and we were all awed and stunned by them, all 3 judges. Malika and Liz were as excited as I was by this new voice. Every single line has impact, surprise, and urgency, especially urgency. Every line felt as if it had to be written, every word alive. Every formal device works towards the mastery of the poem, whether it's a golden shovel, a list, or a mirror. For example, in the mirror poem, Winter Spring, shadows of families become families of shadows. Want of breath becomes breath of want, and daughters hold fires becomes fires hold daughters. Fires do indeed hold daughters. I can't wait to see Natalie's debut full collection, and I'm so thrilled to be part of her journey with the Rebecca West Foundation. I'm sure she's going to enrich the range of British poetics. Just a little bit about her. She is a Vietnamese Chinese British poet. She came 3rd in the 2019 National Poetry Competition, and in 2020, she received an Eric Gregory Award. Her pamphlet, The Protection of Ghosts, is published with V Press. Please give a warm welcome to Natalie Linh Bolderston.
Hey, thank you so much to Pascale for that beautiful introduction. It's made me feel quite weepy. But thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the judges for selecting me for this prize. And thank you to Victoria and Aki for administering it. Yeah, it means so much to be here. And congratulations to Warda and Alisha. And thank you most of all to my mum, who is my biggest inspiration. So I'm going to read one of her favorite poems by me, and it's called My Mother's Last Mid-Autumn Festival in Saigon, 1977. And it's a golden shovel after Ocean Vuong. You light candles for every ghost of your blood. Bend to say your prayers. Burn joss to mask the smell of surrender. You pile plastic fruit at the shrine and queue for rations. Remember to say, Cảm ơn, even in the eye of ruin. This year, the moon is a chunk of alabaster tomb, blasted high. When you next bleed, it will be switchblade thin. The school monk said, English nouns taste of honeysuckle, that there is a place where meadows are alight with goldenrod instead of grenades. You plan to leave. Your father teaches you to say sorry in 5 languages, so you might survive into next autumn. Always apologize when you don't know what else to say. You prepare to cross the sea, to a place where autumn means something different, where no one pays homage to the moon, despite its bloodless light, unfiltered by gun smoke. where the crops are still safe to eat, and the world will always return to green. To see it, you are ready to lose everything but the language you pray in. You send a lantern into the night. Your mother says, I hid all your names inside, as 100 flames fill your eyes. Thank you so much.
Wow. It's so, hi everyone, good evening. It's so gorgeous to actually hear the poems read by the poets. I'd like to say congratulations to you both, Natalie and Warda. I'd also like to start off by saying, wow, to actually sit with two of my favorite poets and discuss poetry and be privileged to read some of the poetry coming out of women writing in Britain at the moment was such a pleasure. It felt that, you know, being paid for that was just an added bonus. It was just wonderful. I absolutely adore Pascale and Liz's work, and to sit with them, I learned so much as well as we discussed the poems. The poems were such high quality, and we were blown away by the poetry that came in. And I'm sure you've just heard Warda and Natalie read and can agree how scrumptious and just heart-rending and tender and beautifully rendered those poems are. I have the privilege of naming and introducing the third winner for this evening for the Women's Poetry Prize. And I'd like to say something about her first. First of all, Alisha Dietzman is her name. I found the work, and we found the work. We were blown away and stunned by the work. I thought, what audaciousness, what boldness to take on religion and to take on the Bible in this way. And I thought how brave Alisha is new to our shores, is here from America. And one of the things that she put down in her application form was that she wanted to build community and be in conversation with British poets. And we felt that the poetry that she's writing is so profoundly fits into this space, and it's so wonderful to be in conversation with what's happening now. It was, I think, the willingness to take on big topics. It was like reading a poetic thesis that's lyrical and cinematic and rigorous and interrogative. And I don't know about any of the other judges, but I became an instant fan. Not less because I think I love anyone who deals with biblical themes, but I was kind of intimidated by the bodaciousness of the work that Alisha is doing. I found it was not afraid to tackle ethics and religion, and it was adventurous. And you'll no doubt hear it now. I wanted to just end by just giving you a kind of example of the exemplary accomplishments of this poet so far. Alisha was a Fulbright fellow from the UK to the US, from the US to the UK, and her academic research was to work with the UK poetry community, and that's finished now and is now a PhD candidate, studying for her PhD at the moment, but also was nominated for the Best New Poets Anthology in the US and longlisted for various prizes, including the 9-2 Wide Discovery, John Layman Jacobson Poetry Prize, and the Billot Poetry Journal, Adrian Rich's Award for Poetry, judged by Caroline Forche. Ladies and gentlemen, I hand you over to Alisha.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much. That was an introduction that completely overwhelmed me. And yeah, thank you. And just thank you to all of the judges. Just briefly, I wanted to say that I was just so excited and honored to win. Every step of the way was incredibly encouraging for me, and I was surprised to be longlisted, surprised to be shortlisted, surprised to win, and I'm very, very grateful, and I thank you for the faith in my work, and congratulations to the other winners too. Yeah, so I will just jump into reading the poem. This poem is called "We Did Not Know Much About That City." Outside the train, backyards. Bare clotheslines strung only with clothespins. I wonder if it is going to rain. Outside the train, a rabbit skin, oddly clean. Night spread sweeter than anise in the city where we are going, where a man sits with 3 shots of absinthe, the sharp green of copper, after. And we remember that there were 3 shots, because why so many for one man and in a row? Outside the train, children wearing gloves. Outside the train, blank townscapes where once they lined men against a wall. There reaches a point when counting becomes a waste of time. Night spread sweeter than anise in the city where we are going, in its parks, by the river where it is dark, deep dark, as space is dark, under a moon that is light, is barely light as God is light. And God is a smocked collar over our literal heart, is our sadness in spilled things, glasses of water, memorials. I tell you what happened is not unique, but it is particular. And I like particular, I like careful. I like every word thought through, like when Zizek shakes his hands in the video says, it was some maybe, probably genocide. Careful maybe, careful probably, careful genocide. Night spread sweeter than anise in the city where we have arrived, and over a table that is a little too narrow, we agree to give up, which is intimacy, maybe. And intimacy is also houseplants, the manner in which curtains touch sills. We say all right, we say thy will. And all of this quiet, and all of this running out of air, like pool floats, like pale blue, like us if we cut even the smallest holes in certain parts of our bodies. Thank you so much.
I'd like to start first by congratulating the poets. What astonishing talents you are, and how delighted Rebecca Swift would have been had she been around. Thank you, Aki and Victoria, for making it possible for this launch to happen today. Rebecca Swift doesn't need an introduction. It seems redundant to even try and do that, because if it wasn't for her, this evening wouldn't exist, nor would this prize have existed. I'd like to also thank Jamie McGarry from Valley Press for producing and publishing this volume of Rebecca's in such difficult times, and Matthew Young for designing a most stunning and elegant cover. And I would also like to thank Michael Ondaatje and Kamala Shamsi for writing such fine and moving forward and introduction. Moving on now to A Suitable Love Object, Rebecca Swift's volume of poems that we're launching tonight. Becky had written poetry all her life, poems that were private and revealing, many of them embedded in the diaries that she wrote from the time she was very young. She published very little poetry in her lifetime, which was surprising because she wrote so much. She published a few poems in anthologies and journals, and that was all. Yet she left a formidable hoard of poems, which Kosis Brown, her partner, and I shaped into this volume. The poems take us to a deeply hidden side of her, troubled, self-inspecting, passionate, witty, angry. I'm sure she would sooner or later have gathered together poems and published herself. She had already started the process of organizing. In the last years of her life, she and I had embarked on a project exploring traditional poetic forms. And a couple of the forms appear in this volume, a villanelle and a sestina. The poem I'm going to read is a sestina, and I'm sure many of you know the form, but for those who don't, it is a complex form with no rhymes, but with repeated line endings in a set structure. I struggled very much to finish mine, but Becky's is inspired. It is a literary snapshot and a manifesto. The poem I'm going to read is one she wrote shortly after the death of Doris Lessing, who was a family friend and whom Becky loved and admired. Her beloved Hampstead Heath also features. It was her social, emotional, creative petri dish. It is where she walked and talked with friends all her life, and where she felt a sense of entitlement. The poem. In memory of Doris Lessing walking on the heath. There is a place where the dead meet and the dogs get lost, where 4 roads meet by willow and stripped green catch-eye parakeets, which some call bastard foreigners. You were a migrant too, left violence far behind for political innocence and table talk. You left your children too, but one said she didn't mind. The one who clung had died, but others didn't mind. She said so at the funeral in the same church where the dead get lost. Dreams now they seem, spider, plumber, space, and table talk. Childhood memories, rare and florid as the strip green catch-eye parakeets. You left 2 children far behind. Some called you violent foreigners. You thought of us, you said, one homely meal as foreigners. Political innocence in England, soft padded of the mind. You have no idea. Communism gave you a son and left some far behind. Some thought your mind, and then your son got lost. Now when I hear the shriek of catch-eye parakeets, I recall the treasured, gone wrong son and treasured table talk. My mother's house fueled table talk, and though you thought of us as naive foreigners, odd as strip green catch-eye parakeets, you invited yourself in, and mother didn't mind. The heath on which the dogs got lost was close, and none then left behind. When you traveled into space, you left most far behind. You spared us this at table talk. You took off to where the world gets lost, and humans are all foreigners. You'd left Rhodesia, and then this planet Earth, but your daughter understood. She said at church, she didn't mind, though others thought you alien as strip green catch-eye parakeets. Then with mental flight, strange as heath and willow parakeets, your Sufi whirling rendered you, or us, behind. But pudding bound, we laughed and drank, we loved and didn't mind. Ah, Doris, now you're gone, we miss your table talk. You and your special son, both now spectral foreigners. I found your ghosts where the dead meet and the dogs get lost. It was at the place where the dead meet and the dogs get lost, where ghosts, like spectral friends, not foreigners, sang to me this poem and said you didn't mind. Thank you.
Melanie, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this amazing evening where we've heard, as Liz said, tender, ambitious and thrilling work from 3 poets whose names I want you all to please remember. Warda Yassin, Natalie Linh Bolderston and Alisha Dietzman. These are some of the women poets of the future. I feel certain of it tonight, as they have shared their wonderful words with us all. It's been a pleasure and a delight. But I want to say a few final thank yous as we wrap up this evening of amazing poetry, warm and tender words and sentiments. I think this is an evening that Becky would have been very proud of, and these are poets that she would have been proud of, and this is a prize that she would have been extremely proud of, despite the fact that she wasn't a huge fan of prizes and competitions. This has been incredibly special. The Women Poets Prize is generously supported by our 7 industry partners, without whom none of this would be possible. It is also generously supported by FMcM, one of the Books World's best communications agencies, and we are so delighted to have their support as one of our sponsors. And also the donors. We are not supported by trusts or foundations or by the Arts Council or any other body. It is entirely private donations which keep this foundation running. We are not here to ask you to make huge donations or sums. You're here to celebrate the poets and poetry tonight. But if you do wish to make a donation, you can do so using the donation button on the Rebecca Swift Foundation website. Every donation, no matter how small, is really valuable to keep us running. It is your generosity that allows the prize to be free to enter. It is one of the only free to enter poetry prizes here in the UK, and creates a safe space for women poets and for their development, their nurturing, the pastoral care. We have to say a big thank you also to all of our partners, to our mentors, to our readers, to people who give their time so generously. And a particular thanks from me to Victoria, who is still on mute, but you may come off mute if you want, Victoria, you are spotlighted. Our amazing project manager, who has done so much liaison, so much work behind the scenes, such an amazing job at pulling all of these things together and being the first point of contact for our judges and being the first point of contact for all of the poets, informing them at every step of the way of what is going on. And I know that in that judging meeting, she felt in particular that this trio of judges has been spectacular. So a huge thank you to you, to you, Liz Berry, Malika Booker, Pascale Petit, for your time, your generosity, your energy, your wisdom. We truly appreciate this. This is, as we've said, run by women for women, and we are very, very proud. And we thank all of you for being here, for sharing your thoughts in the chat. I can see lots of lovely comments coming through from people in the audience. We will treasure those, and we will also make sure we pass your words on to our poets. And Victoria, was there anything you would like to say as we round up this wonderful, wonderful evening?
Yeah, I would just like to, I always say this to those who knew Becky, but I never had the pleasure of meeting Becky. And so for me to have that reading of her work by Melanie is just such an incredible way to sense the impact that someone had in their lifetime, and it's such a shame that she can't be here with us, but I have every faith that the work that we're doing will continue. It's a real pleasure to work with each of the poets, to even just send emails back and forth with the long listed poets or anybody who's getting in contact, and we learn so much from our applicants, and I feel that this is just such a wonderful job to have. As a poet, it's so helpful to sometimes be on the other side and understand how things can work, and the sense of care and appreciation and love that goes into it. And I'm excited to work with our new winners. I'm excited to continue working with our previous winners from 2018. And yeah, just to say that we're all in this together, and I look forward to all the amazing things that are to come. And I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. It's so special and very appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We will be making this recording available to everyone to watch back, share with your friends and family, tell everybody about the work of the Rebecca Swift Foundation. And each of our winners will win. Normally the prize pot is £1,000 each, but thanks to a generous anonymous donor, it will be £1,500 this year each for our winners, plus a whole 12 to 18 month program of holistic support, from voice coaching to digital skills training, a day in-house at Faber and Faber to hear about book publishing history and poetry publishing history in the UK, all sorts of wonderful things. We also have an impact evaluation report that we are due to release very shortly, looking at the first 2018 prize. And we have also got feedback from our 2020 applicants. We do listen to your feedback. Your feedback is extremely important to us, and we are taking all of your wonderful ideas and making sure that we're making tweaks and improvements to constantly ensure that the Women Poets Prize serves the needs of the women writers community as they are expressed and articulated to us. That is very important. We want to be responsive. We are here. We are here on Twitter at Foundation Swift. We are RebeccaSwiftFoundation.org on the website. And we will be sharing news about our 2020 winners and their work going forward as we work with them over the coming year. We're really excited to do that. We're really delighted that all of you could join us. Thank you so much for being here with us to celebrate our 2020 winners. And I'm wishing all of you a really wonderful evening.